Jack vs. the Space Empire of Continuum by Scott Rice. Read for you by Hellfreezer. Part 6.
"Wow," Jack exclaimed. "That was sick. I mean, yeah, I did feel like I was about to die, but wow. That's how you make an entrance, baby."
Jack was as equally amazed as I was. We both looked around in wonderment. The interior of the palace was splendid and spectacular, and it was a grand mess. Kensians were running about everywhere, obviously in a state of panic. Furniture was being packed. Art was being taken down. Rugs and carpets were being rolled up. And every bit of usable technology was being stored and taken away. All of this activity was creating quite a din, and we had to raise our voices to be heard.
"Are you sure we can stay here?" I half asked and half yelled. "We're probably getting in the way."
"Nonsense," said Jen. "You are honoured guests of the Queen. No one will question that."
"Let me show you to your rooms,"
said Cecil, seemingly from out of nowhere. He had been silent up until this point.
"Since we have plenty of room available, you will each get your own suite."
"Bitchin',"
piped up Jack. He could barely contain his excitement. This was exactly where he wanted to be, on another amazing adventure. He truly lived for times such as this, and I couldn't really blame him. Like ancient Greek heroes of yore, Jack was born for greatness, and he loved it. He vibrated with the expectation, and would eagerly dive straight into whatever came our way, without worry. He had no fears and lived for the moment. This is precisely why my mood was starting to sour. This kind of stuff made Jack happy, while I wallowed in constant fear and melancholy. Someone had to worry for the both of us. I didn't have Jack's special magic, so I would be the one to suffer. And I hated to suffer.
"Hey, Cecil,"
asked Jack as he weaved in and out of the throngs of moving people.
"It's Gatesmal Cecil."
"Yeah, okay, fine," chuckled Jack. "I've got a question for you. Gatesmal Cecil. Why do you Chewbacca speak in a British accent? Have British names. What's up with that?"
To tell the truth, I had thought the same thing, but had never had a free moment to ask.
"We Kensians have lived here for over 500 years. We had to adapt to life on Earth, mainly because we lived under a major human city and had nowhere else to go. We obviously couldn't stay here without our presence being discovered eventually, so we made contact with British leaders during that time. After that, disastrous first contact period, we made a decision to incorporate British culture and lifestyle in an effort to relate to the humans above us. Our ancestors believed it would make relations with British humans easier and more productive if we could relate to them on even that tiny level. Well, it worked, and our peoples began a period of what we call the Caval's Store, or pleasant life with neighbors. Since that time we have continued on with this practice. We have made it our own in many ways. Our species is very adaptable in that respect. However, Kensian political and religious leadership were forbidden to take part in this new way of things in an effort to preserve our own way of culture, a culture that has survived and grown for millions of years. We will never abandon our ancestors or our beliefs, and we will do whatever is necessary to survive. That is the Kensian way."
"Why, aren't you a wordy Wookiee?" said Jack. "You lost me at 500 years, I get it, though. Americans do the same thing. That's why we have burritos."
Jen laughed and smiled at Jack, obviously smitten with him. Lucy and I saw this exchange, and we both rolled our eyes. Lucy then looked at me and smiled again. I nearly tripped over 2 Kensians, handling a large sofa through the wall. I had never heard curse words spoken so vehemently in an alien language before. I apologized and quickly moved out of their way. Lucy had caught all of it. "You're cute," she said, as she moved her hand to cover her smiling lips.
"Ah?"
I hit another Kensian carrying what looked to be some kind of lamp. He lost control of the item, and it hit the floor in a crash. Whatever it was, I hoped it wasn't expensive.
"Sorry, sir,"
I exclaimed as I snapped back to reality.
"It's not as bad as it looks. It's obvious those pieces there go with those pieces over there." They should be easy to glue back together. Is that piece a part of it, or did it come from something else? It's hard to tell. Man, what a mess. I'm sure it can be fixed. Do you have insurance? If so, you should file a claim quick, considering the circumstance. Oh, yeah. I see you're getting mad now. I can tell by the way you're looking at me while you're baring your teeth and locked onto me with those murderous eyes. And your ears are folded back. That's a sure sign of a Kensian being angry, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna slowly back away from you now. You're obviously pissed off, so I'll just get out of your way. Here, and, get back to walking down the hall again. It began to growl at me. Please don't kill me! Cheerio! I said hurriedly as I quickly skedaddled off. Once again I was the focus of a stream of truly nasty-sounding Kensian curse words. I apologized to the poor creature, and quickly caught up with the rest of the group. Lucy kept looking at me and smiling. I felt the heat rising in my face and chest, and my hands began to sweat. Richard and Harry suddenly split off of the main hallway and entered an entirely different section and were gone. I remember thinking about how strange it was for them to walk away from us without explanation. No one else seemed to have noticed. Even Cecil didn't seem to have noticed. How odd, I thought.
So, Gatesmall Cecil, what do you Wookiees do for fun around here? Asked Jack. I could sure go for some downtime. Got any beer?
Cecil simply ignored Jack and continued down the hall. We eventually passed out of the work zone and into a more quiet section of the palace. The palace was simply stunning. It was both traditional and profoundly alien at the same time. The hall we were in had a wide curved ceiling with some sort of lighting going down the length of the hall. The walls were smooth and seamless. They were the same golden bronze color of the exterior, and reflected the light like oil on water. The more I moved, the more colors seemed to explode from the walls. Closed doors peppered the hallway here and there. The whole effect was akin to something alive. Curves were everywhere, as if the entire palace was grown rather than built. Try as I may, I couldn't find a single straight line anywhere. The furniture was similar. Nothing humanity would have thought of, that's for sure. A sofa was obviously still a sofa, except for the size and overall shape or design. Being that Kensians were much larger than humans, their furniture reflected that. The size of everything around us made me feel as if I was a small child. Even the wood used in these pieces was alien. We passed picture after picture of Kensian royalty of the past. At least I think they were royalty. Some were dressed in religious robes and such, while others were garbed in obvious military armor, or battle dress or uniforms. Oddly enough, the pictures were oil-on-canvas-style pictures. Brushstrokes were evident the closer one stood to them. The style looked to be medieval, with lots of dark colors and somewhat bent shapes of the subject. I suppose this was another way the Kensians tried to fit in with humanity at some point in the past. It was dizzying to filter out the human from the alien. We walked silently until we reached the end of the hallway. There were 4 doors at the end along the hall. All were closed.
"Here we are," said Cecil. "You may decide amongst yourselves who gets what room. You are all to stay within your rooms until called for. A computer will assist you in any questions you may have regarding your suites. Dinner will be served in 3 hours. Proper clothing will be provided for you. I must insist you wear them if you plan on attending the Queen's meal."
Cecil then turned around and marched off. "Well," said Jen as Cecil rounded a corner and was gone, "we appear to be on our own, Jack. Would you mind helping me get settled in?"
"Sure, I'd be happy to,"
said Jack as he took her hand and chose a door at random. He then looked to me.
"I'd better check to make sure her suite is safe from, aliens and shit."
"Oh yeah," I said sarcastically. "Never know when an alien will walk into your room and demand alien things."
"Yep."
Then Jack and Jen, not paying any attention to me whatsoever, closed their door and they were gone. Lucy and I simply stood in the suddenly quiet and awkward hall. "I'd better go check out my room. See what's in it. Never been in an alien suite before." I was struggling to say something not stupid and failing miserably. I coughed and looked at the floor.
If she asked me to go with her to her room, I'd lose it completely. "Yeah," she said, "me too. I'd like to shower before dining." She kept trying to look me in the eyes, but I refused to do so. It was way too easy to get lost them and blubber like an idiot. "Okay, good luck," I said as cheerful as I could. I imagined her naked in the shower, the soapy water running down her porcelain skin, her wet hair glued to her perfect face, her firm breasts pointing up through the bubbly deluge. Oh, God! I quickly bumped into the closest store, finally managed to open it, and entered as dignified as possible. I looked back at her for a second before the door slid closed, only to find her watching me intensely and smiling. "Easy, boy, down, down," I said to myself. I was short on breath and getting hotter by the second. This girl had such a hold on me, so much so that I was beginning to become afraid. I closed my eyes and tried to think of something unsexy as hard as I could. Grandma, chicken legs, car tires, moon craters. Oh, damn it! I ran into the bathroom as fast as I could. I clearly had to initiate a proper rubbing immediately, or else face embarrassing extinction. So I proudly marched on to do my duty. I then stopped in my tracks. First thing I noticed was everything within was far larger than a human would consider appropriate. In the center of the floor was what I think was a toilet. It stood at least 4 feet high, if not more, and resembled a metallic cylinder with a conformed top. A cone-like hole was in the center, which, from what I could determine, was the business area of the device. How in the hell was I supposed to use that? Damn Kensian height! I'd look like a child using that thing. To the right of the toilet appeared to be a shower, but without a curtain, tub, or shower head. Instead, the walls were covered in perforated metallic sheeting. Behind that, blue light shone through. I couldn't see how it worked, nor could I find any sort of soap or shampoo. No towels either. On the opposite side was obviously a sink. Finally, something familiar. Except it was quite high off the floor and nearly impossible for me to use properly. Great. The wall, ceiling, and floor were polished to a mirror shine, so that no view of me would remain unexposed. Wonderful. And where the hell was the toilet paper? I clearly needed help using these facilities. Later, after I had calmed myself down, I moved into the main area of the suite. My jaw hit the floor. What I saw was amazing. The room was enormous. It was a single-level suite with the living room, bedroom, and kitchen all exposed into one single living area. The walls were the same as the hall we had come from, in both color and material. The far exterior wall was floor-to-ceiling glass, or what appeared to be glass. I had no idea how the Kensians managed to pull it off, considering I could not see any sort of windows from the outside. The view of the city beyond was spectacular. It was twilight, and the buildings reflected pink and yellow from the sunset. Interior lights twinkled as its inhabitants began to adjust to the night. Everywhere was movement from within the city. Vehicles, both airborne and ground-based, moved without pause. Tall, delicate structures glowed with activity. The view was both inspiring and breathtaking. I've seen pictures of New York City at night, and the city before me was similar but much more in scope and beauty. It was a truly alien city. I wondered how much of it was real and how much was illusion. It was impossible to tell the difference. Similar to the bathroom, the bedroom furniture and fixtures were much too large. The bed dominated the room. It was obviously made to Kensian standards, in other words, enormous. One could park a car on that thing with plenty of room to spare. Again, I would have to climb up it, of course. There were no pictures on the wall or any kind of artwork at all. I thought this odd considering how many pictures we passed in the hall. And that was it. There were no other furniture items within the room. Strange. As the sky grew dark, gold and yellow light flooded into the suite, causing black shadows to loom. I looked for a light switch and found none. In fact, I couldn't find any kind of lighting at all. Harking back to my Star Trek days, I formed an idea. "Computer," I said loudly. I was rewarded with a series of digital-sounding pings,
Then a male voice rang out from seemingly everywhere at once.
"I am here. What may I do for you, Master Andrew?"
It sounded much too happy to me. It was like dragging your tired ass to work on a Monday only to have that one person, every office has one, who was way too chipper for that time of day respond with, "What a great day! Aren't you severely happy?" It grated my nerves. Lights? Can you turn them on?" "Of course!" It responded with an emotional reply akin to an orgasm. Instantly the room was bathed in a brilliant white light from walls to ceiling. There was no fixture creating this light, it just was. Incredible. However, it was much too bright, especially with my eyes having adjusted to the previous darkness. "Can you tone it down a bit? I'm blinded here," I said as I tried to shield my eyes from the intensity. "How about this?" said the voice happily as the room dimmed. "That'll work. How do you know my name?" I asked. "I am Vance, your dutiful AI. I serve at your request. How are you doing this fine evening, Master Andrew?" If a computer could gush, Vance would be the poster child. I died a little inside. "I'm fine, I guess." "Splendid. I am ecstatic to inform you that the Queen has requested your attendance to dine tonight. I have taken the liberty to choose appropriate attire for the event. You may find your clothing here." Suddenly a series of red dots appeared in the air near me. All silently flew around in circles and moved to a wall to the left of the bed. They quickly formed into a single red ball, then disappeared within the smooth surface. A series of lines began to grow in a rectangle pattern, which silently slid away, revealing a closet. Inside the closet hung a freshly tailored black tuxedo, complete with shoes and handkerchief. "You will look very handsome in these, Master Andrew, if I do say so myself. I took the liberty to scan you so as to attain perfect fitment." Vance seemed proud of this. Okay. Wait, when did you scan me?" I asked. "I scanned you as you were exploring yourself in the bathroom, sir. Although I must say you seem to be inflicted with dire itching in your private area. May I suggest an ointment to take care of it, Master Andrew?" "It's okay. I'm fine," I said quickly. "Well, you didn't seem fine at the time, sir. In fact, you seemed to be suffering quite badly, with all the moaning and constant scratching. You didn't seem to be able to stop. Up and down you went. You appear to be in quite a lot of pain, Master Andrew. Do you require medical assistance? I can request a doctor if you'd like. She'll be here in a jiff." No, I'm fine, really. I'm good." I was desperate to change the subject. I could feel the heat of embarrassment rising in my face. "Well, if you say so, sir. I shall endeavour to watch over you for further complications. We wouldn't want to spread this itching contagion to the others in your party, do we?" "No, we wouldn't. If the windows could open, I'd probably have thrown myself out of them simply to end this whole conversation." "No need to thank me, Master Andrew. I'm just doing my duty, sir." I have never heard a computer sound so smug. Although he had no physical face or anything else for that matter, I could clearly hear him smiling. I heard a chime from the suite door. I looked around in bewilderment. "Ah, it seems you have a visitor, sir. Shall I let Lucy in?" "Lucy? Sure? Oh, God, I didn't need this now. Please." Desperation closed in on me like a shadow. "Certainly, sir," said Vance as the front doors silently slid open. Lucy came into the room and I almost completely passed out. She looked stunning. She had changed into a dark red dress that clung to her lithe body like a second skin. Her figure was fantastic. The dress was low cut, showing much of her cleavage. The hem hung down to just above her knees. She wore calf-high black riding boots, which completed the outfit. She was absolutely beautiful beyond words, and she seemed to be excited. "Andy, can you believe this place? It's amazing," she said as she walked in. "Have you seen the TV?" No. We have a TV? Where?" "Here, let me show you." "Vance?" "I'm here, Madam Lucy. What can I do for you in this fine day?" I sorely wished I could punch Vance in the mouth. I simply couldn't stand his enthusiasm. I realized this was the first artificial intelligence I've ever hated on a personal level.
Vance, can you turn on the television, please? Lucy then looked to me. You are not going to believe this. Certainly, any particular channel you wish to view, Madam Lucy, asked Vance. How about BBC Three? Unfortunately, BBC Three ceased broadcast 2 years ago. Shall I try another? All right, BBC Two then. Of course. Currently, BBC Two is showing an episode of The Mighty Bush. Is this acceptable? That'll be fine, Vance. Watch this, Andy. Suddenly, and without any kind of warning, the walls, ceiling, and floor erupted into pure digital splendor. The entire room was the television display. I could still see the nearly invisible outline of the bed and walls, but they were mere whispers compared to what was happening before me. I was taken aback by the pure perfection of it. Even with the angles between the walls, ceiling, and floor, I saw no distortion whatsoever. It was as if I were standing inside the show somehow. I could seemingly reach out and touch the actors and props. I was flabbergasted. Hey, this episode is eels, squealed Lucy. I love this one. I couldn't stop laughing when I first saw it, Andy. This is when Naboo and Bolo leave Howard and Vance in charge of Nabootique. Oh my God, it's so funny. I had no idea what the hell she was talking about. I jumped out of the way as one of the actors, a long-haired fella, nearly bumped into me as he passed. Holy shit, this is amazing, I said in pure wonderment. I know, right? It's not my favorite episode, but it's damn funny. What? No, I mean this. What is this, virtual reality? I asked. You can describe it as such, Master Andrew, said Vance. Although you cannot interact with it, you can move around and view it from any angle you wish. It's just like the holodeck on Star Trek. I was nearly speechless. Sort of, said Lucy as she moved around another actor and came up to me. Except you can't touch anything because it's not really there. See how my hand passes right through Howard? It's not like when I reach out and touch you. She drew so close to me that I could smell her perfume. She took my hand into hers and looked me in the eyes. What? A look of concern flashed across her face. You feeling all right, Andy? She asked. Master Andrew is currently suffering from an intense itch in his genital area, Madam Lucy, said Vance happily. We were trying to determine if medical assistance was warranted when you came in. I nearly died right there on the spot. I took a breath. What? Oh God! I'm sorry, Master Andrew. I'll speak louder, said Vance as he raised his voice. I said we were discussing the nature of your itchy genitals and the possibility of medical assistance. Did I leave something out, or is the volume of the television too loud? If so, I sincerely apologize. No groinal itching, no scratching, nothing like that happened. Oh my God, Vance! I screamed. My face glowed red with humiliation. I released Lucy's hand, leaned against the foot of the bed, and buried my face in my hands. But, Master Andrew, I saw you. You were in the bathroom, laying on the floor. You spit into your hand every minute or so. You seemed to moan in intense pain, so I was worried. I was so humiliated. I had no idea what to say or do. I was stunned into abject submission. I prayed for God to take my soul then and there because I didn't want to live anymore. This was it. This was the end. My heart raced like Jackie Stewart towards the finish line. Never before have I wanted to perish as much as right then. I peeked out from between my fingers and saw Lucy covering her mouth with her hands and quietly giggling. Fuck's sake. Now I'll never get the chance with her. Vance, you asshole. Oh God, oh God, oh God, I kept repeating. I didn't dare look Lucy in the eyes. It's okay, Vance. I think I know what's going on here, she said. God, oh God, oh God. I think I should leave, said Lucy as she backed away giggling. Good luck with your itchy groin. Oh God, oh God, oh God. I'll check in on you in a few hours. Keep an eye on him, Vance. Of course, Madam Lucy. I take great pleasure in watching out for members in my charge, said Vance. Looks like you're not the only one, Vance, snickered Lucy. Oh God, oh God, oh God, please let me die. Lucy turned and was gone. The door slid shut, and that was it. I slid down to the floor, my face remaining buried in my hands. "Did I say something wrong, Master Andrew?" asked Vance. "I detect a distinct change in your behavior. May I be of assistance?" "No, Vance, you've done more than enough." My voice muffled by my hands and shame. "Very well, then. I am happy to inform you you have 2 hours remaining before your 7 o'clock reservation with the Queen. Please let me know if my assistance will be required." "Go away, Vance." "Very well, sir. Until I am needed again, I pay you a due." I realized how exhausted I was. I was tired. So tired. How long have I been awake? I tried to think back to the beginning of this crazy day. Oh yeah, Jack woke me up in a tent. Damn, I've been awake for... What time was it now? I had no idea. Had all this fit into a single day? Impossible. The time zone difference between Tennessee and London was something like 6 hours, right? So more than a day. I had no way of knowing. I just knew I was exhausted and needed sleep, but I have the Queen's dinner in 2 hours. Double damn. I was physically and emotionally drained. I needed rest. "Vance," I said as I tried to climb into the bed. I had to back off, get a running start at it, and leap for life to get myself up. "I am here, Master Andrew. How may I be of assistance?" The elation in his voice was insufferable. "I'm going to sleep. Please wake me in an hour." How do I get under these covers? Where did they end? Couldn't find the edge of the sheets. I finally located it, tugged on the sheets until I was reasonably under them, and tried to fall asleep, clothes and all. After what had just happened, I didn't dare undress in this place. "Very well, sir. May you have a pleasant nap. I'll see you again in 1 hour." I closed my eyes and went out like a light. I slept like a rock, and didn't move an inch until Vance happily woke me an hour later. I mentioned how badly I needed a shower, so Vance excitedly explained how to use the showers. Apparently they were called sonic showers, and used no water at all. Apparently they were called sonic showers, and used no water at all. Instead, they generated highly focused sound waves that broke apart dirt, sweat, and everything else that clung to a body. I warily tried it and discovered it worked perfectly. All the gunk from my body and hair simply fell off, and floated around until an air pump pulled it away into the blue wall itself, and disappeared. It didn't take long for me to get dressed. Much to my surprise, the tuxedo fit perfectly, just as Vance said it would. I ran into a wall when it came time to affix the bow tie, however. It was a real bow tie, as in it was a long piece of ribbon that had to be physically tied. I didn't know how to do that. I had Vance contact Jack, and he came over to rescue me.
"Dude, not so hard. You joking me?"
I croaked as my windpipe was rudely reduced.
"Hold still, bro. I gotta get this part to flip around."
"Ouch! Dude, you pinched my neck skin. Watch what you're doing." I was literally dying from Jack's efforts.
"Don't be such a baby about it, bro. I'm almost finished."
"You're cutting off blood flow to my brain. I can't see colors anymore."
"Just stand still. You keep moving and I can't get the knot looped."
"That's because I want to live, Jack." "Oh no, there goes piano lessons." The door chimed. Vance announced Jen and Lucy were outside. They came in, saw how blue my skin looked, and moved in to rescue me. Within a minute, they had the tie knotted correctly and with enough room for my arteries and windpipe to function normally. "You look very handsome, Andy," said Lucy as she finished setting my tie. "Like an American James Bond." She stepped back and looked at me. "Perfect. Has your groin stopped itching?" "What?"
"Dude, what? Your groin is itching? Have you been playing with it too much? Give yourself a shampoo burn. Gone all knucklebuster on it."
Jack clearly saw my discomfort and decided to move in for the kill. "Jack, for the love of all that is holy, please drop this," I whispered to him.
"Oh no, bro," Jack whispered back while still smiling maniacally. "I can't let this go. It's too juicy."
"Jack, honey, just leave him alone. Can't you see how embarrassed he is?" said Jen.
"Oh, I see how embarrassed he is. That's the perfect time to strike, ain't it, Yankees Khan?"
"Fuck you, Jack," I said while trying to be as invisible as I could.
"I gotta hand it to you, though.
Fuck you, Jack."
If you run up against a problem, you'll rub it out."
"Fuck you, Jack."
That's pretty ballsy if you think about it. Fuck you, Jack. Yep, never let anyone say Andy can't handle himself in a crisis. Seriously, fuck you, Jack. You've always had a dead serious grip on things, though. Jack, fuck you, buddy. What's the matter, having a hard time? Shut the fuck up, Jack. Don't be such a dick, Andy. You'll give yourself a stroke. That's it, I'm leaving. No, wait, I got more. Nope. Oh, I know. If you were a fish, we'd call you a squirt. Andy masturbated. Amid the torrent of laughter behind me, I opened the suite door to leave, and nearly ran straight into Cecil. He had changed into a finer set of black robes, and his fur was well brushed. I raised my gaze up as he looked down, and he seemed annoyed.
It is time. The Queen awaits us. Please follow me.
Lead on, garçon, said Jack as he, Jen, and Lucy filed out of my suite. Cecil sighed and started off down the hall. Jack just got laid, so he was in a really good mood. Unfortunately, he could be such an ass sometimes. All moving activity had ceased by now, and we marched through the palace in peace. The silence was heavy. Lucy caught up with me and smiled. I tried to smile back, but my embarrassment was plain to see. She made a pouty face, then took my hand and squeezed it, as if to say sorry. I smiled at her and returned her hand squeeze. We rounded a corner and stood before a giant black wooden set of doors, inlaid with gold and iron. There was a large symbol of a stylized predatory creature. Behind it were 4 flags with different patterns, writing stitched across the top and bottom of the symbol. But it was in Kensian, I couldn't read it.
Behold, the great dining hall,
said Cecil with pride as large doors slowly swung open.
Behold, are we suddenly in Middle-earth?
Said Jack as we entered the hall.
Behold this, garçon.
Jack was holding his privates as the guards along the side main door came to attention. I noticed none of them were carrying weapons of any sort.
The Queen has decided she would enjoy dining with you, our...
Cecil paused for a second.
Esteemed guests. Please understand, this is a great honor. No human has ever dined with the Queen before, much less inside the Queen's palace. You will extend common courtesy at all times.
Cecil directed this last part directly to Jack.
Yeah, we get it, garçon. Be nice to Queenie. Get free food. No problem. Oh, by the way, you Chewbacca's don't eat cat, do you? I can't eat cat. They, give me indigestion.
I swear Jack was trying to piss off every alien around us.
Follow me,
said Cecil from between clenched teeth. Jen looked nervously to Jack, then to me, and finally Cecil. Why don't we sit down and wait for Her Majesty? Jen turned and signaled to a passing waitress. Can we have 5 Warrior's Tears, please? Thank you. Warrior's Tears? I asked. It's a drink, said Jen, while we approached one of the biggest dining tables I'd ever seen. Kensians require strong drinks for the alcohol to take effect. Warrior's Tears is one of the more potent ones Kensians prefer.
Sounds good.
Jack stopped at the table and turned towards Cecil. Where do we sit, garçon?
Ooh, I want the big chair. Absolutely not, shouted Cecil. That is the Queen's chair. You are forbidden to even touch it.
Fine, whatever. Where do you want us to sit?
You may sit across the table from her and the others. Not yet,
shouted Cecil as Jack started to pull his chair out from the table.
It is considered rude to sit before the Queen arrives. You will wait until the proper time.
Much to my surprise, Jack apologized and returned his chair. Cecil visibly relaxed somewhat and returned to his position behind us. It was at this time I noticed other Kensians filing into the dining hall. They milled about, conversing with each other. There was an air of fear and of excitement in the room. Their conversations were hushed, and I kept finding them watching us intently. None of them approached us, however.
Did you ever get the feeling you were being watched? Asked Jack as he scanned the hall.
They are under tremendous stress, Jack, replied Jen. All of this is completely new to them.
Not only are they having to flee the only home they've ever known, but now humans are inside the Grand Palace. It is something they've never dreamed of. I'm sure they are distraught at all of this change. They're simply afraid of their future, honestly. I can't blame them either. I'm terrified at leaving Earth, too.
Jack took Jen's hand and kissed it. You have nothing to worry about. We're going to fix this, I promise you. Earth and humanity will not be destroyed. I won't allow it.
Jen smiled at Jack, but I could tell it was forced. And I could tell she didn't believe a word Jack was saying to her. She obviously didn't know Jack. She couldn't know that if Jack promised he was going to do something, he'd do it, period. No excuses, no debate. Jack would get it done regardless of the dangers or odds against him. I had no idea whatsoever how he was going to do it, but I was certain he would. I didn't want to think of the consequences if he failed. We casually talked to one another for a few minutes more until a steady drum began to beat the same rhythm as when Aurelia approached the hill. Everyone ceased their conversations and arranged themselves into a line near the main entrance to the hall. Shortly after, the Queen's guards entered the hall and took positions along the sides of the hall. The Queen then made her entrance. Everyone within the hall began to applaud her while the guards stood to attention. Again, I didn't see a single weapon among them.
All hail the Queen, great lord of the Kensians and its colonies, leader of the people and protector of all, shouted a lean Kensian in plain blue robes. May she bless us and deliver us into peace.
Aurelia was the picture of regal strength in her white dress, which was hemmed in lace and decorated in gold, especially the train following her. She smiled and waved at the attendees and took position behind her large dining chair. Richard and Harry, now wearing full-length pants, and obviously not liking it at all, followed her and stood behind smaller chairs on either side of Aurelia's dining throne. Others took positions behind their chairs as well. Cecil motioned for the rest of us to do the same. Jack and I were to be seated directly across from the Queen, while Jen and Lucy stood behind their chairs next to Richard and Harry. The sound from a large metallic bell rang out, and everyone, including the Queen, began to pull their chairs out and sit. Conversations were at a hushed murmur as drinks began to be served.
Hey, Queen, asked Jack, do we get menus here or what?
Someone dropped a glass as the room fell into total shocked silence. Cecil, sitting next to Jack, jerked upright and quickly apologized to the Queen. Jack simply looked at me and shrugged.
You will not address the Queen unless you are directly asked a question by her,
hissed Cecil.
Do you understand?
Jack looked to me, to Cecil, then to Jen, then looked to the Queen and raised his right hand. Yes, Jack, said Aurelia, trying to hide a smile. Do you have a question to ask?
I do, milady. Are we to be provided menus? I'm unfamiliar with Kensian food, and I don't really want to eat a spider or eyeball or something. I might be allergic.
No spiders or eyeballs, I'm afraid, she said while openly laughing. We are being served grilled venison along with beef and vegetables. Does this agree with you?
Maybe. I won't know for sure unless I get crampy and have to squeeze a growler out later.
This produced a series of gasps from the room around us, but the Queen simply laughed. I truly enjoy your blatant honesty, Jack. It is a breath of fresh air.
Not if you walk into the bathroom after me, it won't,
replied Jack as he eyed his glass warily. It was filled with a dark greenish liquid similar to what we saw other Kensians drinking at the base of the hill.
Oh, I get it,
Harry suddenly shouted.
You're talking about poo and farting.
He seemed quite proud of himself for getting the joke all by himself. Cecil loudly moaned and face-palmed himself. Richard simply closed his eyes and slowly shook his head. That's right, honey, said the Queen. She seemed to have great love and patience for Harry. Well, she had to, or else she'd kill him, I thought. Why don't you take a drink?
Okay, Mum, I like to drink. It makes me feel warm inside, like someone hugging me. I like hugs.
I know, sweetie, but you can't have too much. Remember what happens when you have too much.
Yes, Mum, I remember.
And we don't want to repeat that, do we?
No, Mum, we don't.
Harry was looking down now. He refused to meet the Queen's gaze at all. The carpets are still stained.
Yes, Mum.
The animals had nightmares for weeks the last time.
Yes, Mum. I'm sorry.
The cleaning staff swears only fire can remove the memory of the event.
I know, Mum. They were quite clear on that before they ran out of the palace crying in shame.
So, you don't want to repeat it then? Asked the Queen.
No, Mum, no way.
Good. You may have a little, but no more, okay?
Yes, Mum, I understand. Just a little.
Harry reached out and plucked the filled glass from the table. He tipped it back and swallowed the contents in a single gulp. He burped for a moment. Then the biggest shit-eating grin I've ever seen on a Kensian slowly crawled across his snout. His ears drooped and his whiskers curled downward.
Yep. I feel like the biggest hug in the universe. Yep, hugs.
Well, he's gone,
said Cecil in a disgusted and slightly cautious tone. You will be fine, Gatesmall.
I certainly hope so, my queen. People still complain about the stench, even after all the scrubbing and burning of the rooms. I still get reports of some seemingly undead spirits wafting through the halls. Some even said they were outright attacked by the stinky apparitions. Even our largest fans can't defeat the soul-crushing scent. If we have to deal with another of Harry's, rear-end missions, I don't know how the staff will face it.
I said he will be fine, Gatesmall. Aurelia was clearly not in the mood for further discussion on this matter. Her eyes threw poisonous daggers towards Cecil. He got the hint, and visibly shrunk in his chair. Well then, let's get on to more pressing matters, said Aurelia while looking at Jack and I.